The last time that you were here, Mr. Albarn,
Yes.
I've just remembered this. You said to me, I want to make an album live on air, live during a show. I didn't push this on you. I wasn't like,
Yes, I would still love to do that. I mean...
I'm very up for that.
Well, have you got the keyboards?
Yeah, there's a keyboard in that room there.
Go on then.
There's guitars in there.
I'll do it now.
All right. Acoustic guitar. Can we get the acoustic guitar? Yeah.
Okay.
ASMR, like cake eating with Damon Albarn. Wait, this is the album. This is the live album that we're making. Damon eating cake.
You keep saying you want there's a guitar here.
Come on, play us something.
Play you something.
Just play us an idea or something like that.
I've got cake all over my hand.
Doesn't matter.
And I'll wipe it on my pants.
We'll use it as DNA on that guitar when we eat it or something. That just came out of nowhere.
Well, now it's gone back to nowhere.
I thought it was quite beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much.
So that's how it happens. That you just sit there, pick it up, play something, whatever comes out.
And then
you don't know what it's going to be.
And you repeat it again, and then maybe
finesse it or whatever.
Start singing or move somewhere else. And
do you do that thing? Paul McCartney always says, if you've got a good idea, you've got to finish it. You can't leave it halfway through. Is that true?
Yeah, but I find I quite like kind of just throwing loads of seeds into a field and forgetting about it for a couple of years and then coming back and seeing what's grown. Unfortunately, with that way of it is that sometimes you use things that actually don't have the longevity that you thought they had when you first sort of thought of them. That's happened a few times.
When was the last time you wrote a little song or picked up an idea and just got something down?
I do that most days.
Do you?
Yeah.
Straight out of bed, pick up a guitar?
No, not straight out of bed, but at some point, if I've got, it's just what I do. That's what I always do. I just write. I've got literally hundreds and hundreds of things which I haven't really finished.
So what's your method of getting those things down? Dictaphone or something like that? Or just remember it?
Mainly, I just do it on GarageBand, dictaphone.
There's something
around, or just sit at the piano, and then, I mean, that's my ideal place to be.
But you've been doing that for ages. Marley Music was effectively that, wasn't it, that record?
What, sort of just using whatever's available?
The surroundings.
Yeah.
Sitting in a room. It doesn't matter if someone knocks on the door or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I made an album on my iPad when I was on tour in America in 2010.
You did, didn't you? Yeah.
And that's actually 2 years after I met Steve Jobs and he showed me the prototype of the iPhone.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
And because I'm such a Luddite, I wasn't very interested. I was like, yeah, whatever, Steve.
Hope it catches on.
No, but I mean, genuinely, I'm just not that kind of. I'm not really a techie person.
How did you even meet him,
So I had this conversation, and it was like, oh, I tell you what, I'd love to just use GarageBand and the iPad to make a record I'll just record a song a day. I won't add to it the next day. So whatever I get done on that day is how it's going to sound. So it'd be like a diary. And then it's like, and then as soon as it's finished, you can release it digitally. The thing is, so much music is finished and polished, and sometimes I think, although I love really well sort of crafted music and recordings, at the same time I love sort of records that haven't really been completed.
So with Cracker Island, which is the new Gorillaz record coming out next February, quick process?
On Cracker Island it was born.
Pretty quick, because did it in LA with Greg Kirsten, and he plays, much better than I do, but he plays every instrument. Actually, neither of us are very good with wind instruments, but we've got everything else pretty much covered. It took about 11 days all in all.
On Cracker Island it was born.
Because the thing is, Cracker Island, I thought it was going to be called, Static Channel, which flashes up on the screens before all the Gorillaz gigs.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that happens.
What's Static Channel though? What
Jamie lives in Normandy and I live in England, so sometimes
communication is slow.
Sometimes. Sometimes not. No, mate, I don't know. I think the Static Channel is just the sort of the event.
Okay, so they live in different worlds slightly. They're not the same thing.
The Static Channel is all of it, isn't it? And Cracker Island is just well, I mean, originally the whole record, if it has a concept which is loose, would be just imagining these kind of utopian islands where different echo chambers could exist happily ever after, just listening to their own, basically.
Done much research into this? You've been to some utopian islands?
Well, you know, it's very interesting. I've kind of read a lot of utopias, and it's interesting what people in the past thought was utopia. But an island as well, are kind of, you know, yeah, I like that everyone's stuck on these islands. So Cracker Island was one of them. They're all going to be named after islands, but then I just did one at the beginning and one at the end.
That's true, actually. Islands is something that you seem to return to quite a bit in your songs.
Yeah, it's quite a Gorillaz theme as well, sort of. And Plastic Beach.
Good Bad Queen as well. King and Doom.
True, and my last record, Near the Fountain, that entirely based by the sea on an island.
This is the first record you've done, I think, in LA, right?
Yeah. Because I'm supposed to be doing a Netflix film, but I don't know what's going on with that at the moment.
I remember you mentioning
that's why I was out there originally, and then I thought, I was very, very sceptical of anything related to California for decades.
Why is that?
I think that's because whenever we went to Los Angeles, we were always in West Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard, and I couldn't drive, and it's a pretty dead place, to be honest with you. It might have been. It was dead by the time I got there in the early 90s. I think the sort of 70s would have been the great time for Sunset Boulevard. So yeah, I just saw it and Hollywood as a larger area as just, I didn't enjoy it at all. I didn't understand why people moved there. But now I completely understand why people moved to California.
Why is that?
Well, it's just got everything, isn't it? It's got everything. It's pretty liberal. Comparatively, so many creative people live there.
A lot of them on your record, I might add.
Some of them.
I mean, I think Kevin Parker's based in LA now, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Did you do that bit in person?
Yeah, I did it with him in this very smart, studio on a hill that had, in the last few years, been completely scorched by a fire in Malibu. But the studio the house had gone, but the studio had remained. Beautiful, overlooking the city. Really nice.
I think a lot of people had been maybe not knowing that was a collaboration that would definitely happen, but probably dreaming that it would happen at some point because of how big Tame have got and the kind of project Gorillaz is. It is a kind of obvious hookup in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really difficult, that, because he came in with this which is 6/4, it's not 4/4, and it's quite hard to just flow over, especially for Booty. It was really difficult. He had to come in kind of halfway through the bar, which is. It took me a long time. I wrote about 4 different songs to that and scrapped them all, and it was just the simplest thing really. In the end, was the only one that worked. But I'm glad we stuck with it because it is a sort of particular thing.
It's a big tune as well, isn't it?
Oh, hope so.
It's Gorillaz with a brand new song featuring Tame Impala and Booty Brown, New Gold from Cracker Island. Saw the first performance of that at All Points East the other day. Kind of celebratory, wasn't it? I love it when random surprises happen in Gorillaz show because no one knew that was going to happen, and you can just feel the energy off the audience.
No, I mean, if you think what we could, I mean, if everybody turned up at the same time, I mean, that's my dream. But I've been trying to get Elton John to come, but he's quite
busy,
exactly. And Grace Jones, really.
Yeah.
She's a wonderful, wonderful woman.
Yeah, really.
Nobody quite like her, really.
So this record, first time in LA making an album, Cracker Island, in a place where you don't particularly like it, does the atmosphere of the place always seep into the album, or can you just put it off and say, no, this is just a studio, it doesn't matter where I am?
Well, normally I predominantly just work in my own studio, and when I don't know, I always like kind of Greg's studio is amazing. It's very modern. I mean, for someone who's obsessed with synthesizers and keyboards, it's
like a library or something.
It's like heaven, yeah.
Yeah, is it?
He's got some which he's got a Yamaha, but he's got the version that's like 100 grand, and I've got the one that's 5 grand. But it's the same, but it's an amazing instrument. And the thing about his studio, which I feel like I need to up my game a bit, is that every instrument is already plugged in, ready to go. So it's super fluid in that sense. There's no, and they've all, a lot of time's been spent on each EQ for each instrument and any compressors. So everything's ready. There's no, and it's beautiful. I mean, if you're in that mood, you just go, I'll do that. It's fantastic.
You don't have to do that.
So
that's
I
really want to try that, but it's going to take me 20 minutes
and
to
and
plug
it's
it in.
just so quick with him. It was ridiculous. I mean,
11 days, man.
Yeah, 11 days. But I did the first tune, Silent Running, which was because I wasn't going to go, because I was like, I'm not going to go and work with a pop producer. And Tanielle was like, well, you said you would. And so he's booked time in the studio this afternoon. It was on Friday afternoon. I got really drunk with Jamie on the Thursday night, really hungover. I just couldn't be bothered. I've been working with Frank Dukes all during the week. And so we turned up, and then honestly, 2.5 hours we'd done the tune.
Yeah,
pretty
quick.
much.
And I guess when you walk out of that situation, you say, okay, this is a good idea.
Well, no,
Let's
it's
do
just
more.
obvious. This was a fantastic guy to make, and we're both the same age, and we both kind of have those references from the early 80s and the 70s, electronic and pop, electronic music, and stuff like The Clash, and all of that. And we both were in. He was in Flaming Lips.
Yeah.
He was in Beck's band, and so there's a lot of common ground.
How did you get Stevie Nicks to appear on it? Because really,
yeah, he knows her. So I mean, I don't know whether that would have been possible any other way.
It might have taken longer though. I guess if you can just text her and say, "I'm here. Do you want to pop by?"
I don't know. I mean, someone like Lou Reed, I was on my 4th song submitted to him before he stopped being rude in his replies.
I still can't believe he did Glastonbury, didn't he, Lou?
I know.
It's amazing that.
I know. And he stayed with my parents in a little kind of pub.
Really?
And they sat by the
Can you tell us a little bit about this Stevie track? Because I think that's obviously going to be one that people are excited about. It's called Oil.
Well, I mean, it's a weird collaboration, really. But she kind of liked the song, I think. She liked the sort of ambiguity of it. And
you there when she
no,
she did the vocal?
No, I wasn't. I have met her, though. I did meet her afterwards.
Yeah.
She's fantastic.
Who else is on it? You got Bad Bunny's on it as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tormentor.
Yeah, Bad Bunny.
Are you singing in Spanish on that track? I read some of it. You were like, I want to sing a tune in Spanish.
I would like to, but
that's the opportunity, man.
I could do the oi bit. No, my Spanish is quite hard to sing in another language. I would do it at some point, but on this occasion, we only kind of had an afternoon really, and it all came together super quick. And I actually afterwards tried to do loads of different things of it and change it, but actually what we did in that afternoon was the best version of it. But it's fantastic. I mean, he's such a superstar these days.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, that track has the potential to be maybe the biggest Gorillaz track ever. I mean, considering,
how big he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know. I mean, I don't really work in that, in those parameters, but he's really, I can see why he's so successful, because he's truly does things his own way,
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic that Spanish language music is now the biggest thing.
You get Rosalia on a song, that would be great, wouldn't it?
Oh, she's fantastic.
Billie Eilish is not on it, but can I play you something that we spoke to Billie Eilish just before Glastonbury, and she said this. It's quite sweet.
I am die hard for that man. Let me just say that. I love him so much. I find myself following his fan pages. Yeah. I don't know, the other day, because I don't follow anyone on Instagram. And the other day I was like, oh, I really want to follow this account. And it was the Damon Albarn fan page.
That's the only one
you followed. I was like, maybe I won't only have one.
It's kind of cool to do that, though. I think that would be quite funny.
Yeah, but no, I mean, Gorillaz changed my life. And Blur is wow, so good.
It's pretty sweet, right?
Oh, she's wonderful. I love her. I mean,
I mean,
and I only came became aware of her really through her music. So
it will happen though at some point, surely, because you've so explicitly said I'd love to work with her, and she said
I think we keep trying to do it. It's just a case of schedules.
Yeah, you're both pretty busy. Do you have any idea of what that
she's
song...
busier than I am.
Well, what would that song even sound like? Because the thing with Billy is that there's so many different parts in the Billy and Phineas universe in terms of where their songs can go.
Yeah.
Loud, quiet.
I would say I was similar in that sense.
Yeah.
Who knows? Could be kind of babbling brook folk or dark satanic metal.
Have you done a metal song ever?
Or both. Have I done a metal song? I've done loads of metal songs. Song
like
2.
Full on screamo. No, I mean like screamo style kind of.
What, screaming?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really a screamer.
You're a shouter rather than a screamer. There's a subtle difference.
I can shout. I mean, I'm not as good at shouting. Yeah, I've tried to shout and I lose my voice really quickly. In fact, I did it before a Blur gig. We did an Africa Express, and I was really overexcited because it was in Leytonstone where I grew up, and we were all rehearsing in one of the pubs on Leytonstone High Street.
I saw the clip of this. That someone filmed some of it, didn't they? And it went on.
And I was just shouting like really.
So like the moment when
I was back to like being like 18 again.
That's the moment when Damon ruins his vocal cords. It's not at Wembley or something. It's
no,
and
I really f***ed it that night.
Really?
Yeah. Just by shouting. So I can't really. I mean, I can do a bit of shouting. I can stand on a big stage and project, but I'm not shouting. I'm definitely not screaming.
Let's get into the track you played on stage with Billie Eilish at Coachella. This is Feel Good Inc.
Cities breaking down on a camel's back. They just have to go 'cause they don't know where.
I'm here with Damon Albarn talking about Gorillaz' upcoming album Cracker Island, touring and everything in between. Speaking of touring, Femi Colioso, who is in Ezra Collective and also the newest member of the Gorillaz live band, your new drummer. He might be my favourite person on planet Earth, actually, Femi.
Yes.
Surprised he's not walking around out here.
Oh, Toby sends his love as well.
Oh, very nice. The whole Gorillaz band at the moment just looks very, very fun.
Oh, they're brilliant. They're beautiful, beautiful people. I love them. It's a wonderful thing. Gorillaz is a joy to work as a job. It's amazing.
You did Gorillaz Sports Day the other day in Oslo, I saw. What's going on there?
Right.
Why did that?
Okay.
happen?
Well, I'm a very competitive person, but when we were in Chile, which was our third gig in this year, the reception was so insane that I kind of was elevated and taken back to about 1993, and I started to think it was a Blur gig in like just before the beginning of Britpop, and I started doing my jumps that I used to do, and I completely my right leg, and I split my meniscus, and I've been in a whole world of pain really since then. It's got much better now. Now that I'm threatened with having to have an operation on it when I get back from America, it's miraculously got better.
Ooh, sometimes it'll do that.
So someone who's very competitive doesn't really want to do a sports day when it could either, because it was starting to get a bit better at that, which is only like a month ago. It was starting to get a bit better, so I didn't want to kind of, my natural competitive spirit would force me to do things, and it wasn't a particularly even playground either. Anyway, I excelled in the rounders only because I knew I had to hit like it out of the park each time to be able to get round.
Wait, so you had multiple categories?
Oh,
what else
loads,
did you do?
Egg and spoon race.
Who won the egg and spoon?
Pass the water over the back of your head and then pour it into relay.
It's a great Olympic
kind
sport,
of
that one.
Hockey thing. There was a tossing tossing things onto the hooks thing.
Did anybody notice? Anyone like walking past?
Did I miss anything else? No.
Wait, I just wanted to, like, you're headlining Oya or something.
It was very,
fans
very
like walking past being
though.
like, I've just seen Damon Albarn doing an egg and spoon race in the park. What's happening?
That's what was happening. I mean, it was good. I just don't feel like I was.
Perfect.
You know what I mean? It was like I felt like with a better physical state at that point, I would have done better.
I love how seriously you take it.
I take all competition very seriously.
If you were a betting
Table
man,
tennis in particular.
I've heard about that. Yeah, I've heard you're number one in the music world.
No, well, I did ask. I was going to play with Drake. He was going to come to my studio, but he backed out at the end.
Not to make a tune, but to play table tennis.
No, only to play table tennis.
So he backed out.
He backed out.
So the onus is on Drake. Drake, if you're listening to this, I mean,
the only person who's beat me is Ferdinand. He beat me.
He's not in music though, so it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the way I looked at it.
Yes.
And also at that time he was still playing for Man U, so he was like
The enemy.
No, not that. He was just a
Oh, he's an athlete.
Yeah, exactly. He had like ice baths and monitors and everything.
What, in preparation for a table tennis match with you?
Well, maybe it was.
I feel like you're exaggerating slightly.
But I thought he was. Maybe I do.
You're probably the only
Maybe
band.
I've always been an exaggerator.
You're probably the only band who probably need like a physio to go on tour with you. We got to wrap it up, but I have a couple more questions to ask you. I've always wondered this. I don't know how much you can even say. There's a band who are called Serpico, who we played quite a lot on my show during COVID.
Yeah.
They had a really great record out.
Yeah.
Is that your kid and Jamie's kid in a band together?
It's Jamie's kid.
It's amazing music. Because there's nothing about it online apart from a few Reddit threads and stuff like that saying people are trying to guess who's in it. It's Jamie's kid.
He's a very talented kid. He's just got to make more music.
It's very good. That song Quarantine Theme, that was kind of as it said on the tin.
That's fantastic that you got. Well, I'll tell him that.
It's kind of dark. It's quite filmic, very psychedelic as well. That's Serpico, aka Rocky Hewlett, with Quarantine Theme. Really into that track. What do you think? This is the last question. What do you think about being in a quote unquote cartoon band when people like ABBA and stuff like that are doing Avatar shows and that's a reality now? It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Well, also, there's so many things that Gorillaz was just one of those things that it kind of stumbled across a lot of things before everybody else did, just because it started right at the beginning of the internet and was something. It was it was a metaverse, and there wasn't anything else like that then. So you can kind of look at us as being like the originators of a lot of things, but I think also everyone's going to use the technologies once they become kind of sort of viable, aren't they? I mean, who wouldn't?
You still seem like originators to me, though, in a way. I don't think you've ever lost that. And it's good to have.
I mean, whatever.
I was going to say it's good to have you back.
Get on with it.
You've never actually gone away, so that sentence doesn't make any sense.
I haven't. Yeah. I haven't gone away. I've been belligerently trying,
Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you for the cake. Make sure he got it all before he kicked me out.
It's there.
Kind of dark, it's quite filmic, very psychedelic as well. That's Serpico, aka Rocky Hewlett, with Quarantine Theme. Really into that track. What do you think? This is the last question. What do you think about being in a quote unquote cartoon band when people like ABBA and stuff like that are doing Avatar shows and that's a reality now? It's kind of weird, isn't it?
Well, also, there's so many things that Gorillaz was just one of those things that it kind of stumbled across a lot of things before everybody else did, just because it started right at the beginning of the internet and was something. It was it was a metaverse, and there wasn't anything else like that then. So you can kind of look at us as being like the originators of a lot of things, but I think also everyone's going to use the technologies once they become kind of sort of viable, aren't they? I mean, who wouldn't?
You still seem like originators to me, though, in a way. I don't think you've ever lost that, and it's good to have.
Whatever.
I was going to say it's good to have you back.
Get on with it.
You've never actually gone away, so that sentence doesn't make any sense.
I haven't. I haven't gone away. I've been belligerently trying.
Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you for the cake. Make sure he got it all before he kicked me out.
It's there.